No.
Hey everybody, it's Blobby, back again. Hope you're all doing well. I know I'm kind of been on and off with my uploads and I don't really have a schedule. That's on me. I have a lot going on with school, as well as a little bit of just being lazy, unfortunately. But still trying my best to get content out as soon as possible. We're hopping back into the Nickelodeon Iceberg today. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I think these entries in this video, I guess, are going to be some of my favorite that I had seen so far. When I was doing research, I thought a lot of these were interesting. Some of them are sad, but it's just a very select few of them are sad. But mostly just interesting shit that I didn't know about. I also want to thank you guys for all the tremendous support recently. The growth on this channel is literally unbelievable. I never thought I would have a video that almost has like 100,000 views. So that's fucking crazy to me. For all my new viewers, I hope you enjoy the ride, you know, because it's hopefully only going to continue going upwards from here. I plan on doing a little Christmas special coming up. I'd like to watch 12 maybe disturbing Christmas related movies, and then kind of go through and I guess review them. Try to find some lesser known movies as well, rather than just the very well known ones like Black Christmas and stuff like that. Black Christmas isn't really disturbing, more as it's a classic horror movie, but it was one of the first movies that came to my mind when I was thinking about Christmas scary / disturbing movies in general. But let's just hop right into this. Starting us off for the 5th tier is Cuffed Together. Cuffed Together was a rumored pilot for The Angry Beavers. It was rumored to have aired on rare occasions worldwide, but never aired in the USA. The pilot consisted of Norbit and Daggett being arrested after Daggett destroys an expensive wooden statue. Eventually, the Beavers managed to escape prison while being handcuffed together. But overall, the episode itself was mostly debunked, with the assumption that fans were just remembering a different episode that was just pretty similar to it. Fanboy and Chum Chum, sudden popularity. This entry is just about the fact that a show gained almost a cult following nearly a decade after it had come out. Cat Dog Saving Big Mean Bob. Cat Dog Saving Big Mean Bob was a cancelled video game adaptation of Cat Dog for the original PlayStation. There's not much known about this game other than Robert Lamorex worked on the game when he was working on the PC game, Cat Dog Quest for the Golden Hydrant. Unfinished Invader Zim episodes. Invader Zim had a plethora of unfinished or unaired episodes when the show was cancelled. Some episodes never got the chance to be finished because of the fact the show got canceled, while some episodes have just been scrapped overall because maybe they didn't match what Nickelodeon wanted. Jimmy Neutron interruptions. So on Nickelodeon for a while, there would be times where Jimmy Neutron would come on screen with the Godard, his little robotic dog, and they would like mess with the show that was being aired. A couple examples of this is inside the episode Squeaky Boots, Jimmy uses one of his inventions to temporarily turn SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs into puppets. He's blown up the Nick logo in the corner before, and I believe he had rewinded a part of Rugrats at some point as well. What do animals do when the humans aren't watching? This was a pitch test for Back at the Barnyard. It was advertised with the tagline, "What do animals do when humans aren't watching?" The pitch for the series was never released, but the footage can be found in an old teaser from 2005. SpongeBob Balloon Thief. In the episode Life of Crime, SpongeBob and Patrick are under the impression that they had stolen a balloon on Free Balloon Day. I don't know why this has to be this deep into the iceberg, maybe I missed something about this episode that would bring reason to it being this far down. Banya Banya. Banya Banya was a large yellow frog that first appeared in the Nick Jr. show Gola Gola Island in 1994, before he received his own spin-off show that aired from February 2nd, 1998 to February 6th, 1998. Cartoon Lost and Found. Cartoon Lost and Found was a live-action/animated Nick at Night special from 1990. It was supposed to be a pilot for a series, but it was never picked up. The special had featured Adam West as an office worker who was working with some of the remains of old film reels from the 1950s and 60s. He would assemble the remains and put them through a machine that would play haphazard reconstructions of the show. Chalky Chicken. Chalky Chicken is the favorite restaurant chain of Rocco, Heifer, and Filbert from Rocco's Modern Life, and the restaurant itself is a parody of the fast food chain KFC. Timmy Turner original voice actor. The original voice actor for Timmy Turner was Mary Kay Bergman. She voiced Timmy Turner in the Oh Yeah cartoon shorts and was well known for her work on South Park already as several female characters in the show. Very unfortunately, she had ended up committing at the age of 38. Following her passing, Tara Strong took over her position in Timmy Turner. If you or a loved one of yours is feeling depressed or unhappy, please make sure to just talk to a therapist or talk to, some of your family members or close friends. And you can also call 800-273-8255 if you're in the US. Big Beast Quintet. Big Beast Quintet was an animated pilot pitched to Nickelodeon in 1990. The pilot had a Nickelodeon quote-unquote feel, but it tested poorly because the concept of having a mean, angry boss wasn't something a child audience could relate to, and the fake news story subplot kind of went over their heads. The Carmichael. The Carmichael, or Carmichaels, was a considered spin-off for Rugrats that featured Susie. It was supposed to have her move to Atlanta, Georgia with her family, but due to subsequent continuity issues from two other spin-offs being greenlit, it was canceled. 101% Spooky Whiz Bang. This was a partially found Halloween block that aired on Nick from October 2nd to October 29th of 1999. It was hosted by Henry and June from Kablam. The block is mostly missing, but there are a few shorts that have surfaced on the internet. Nick Jr. UK dub. Nick Jr. has had a bunch of shows with UK dubs, some of which are partially missing or just gone in general, which is why I assume it's on here, but there's no major case. I'm just going to assume that it's kind of similar to how some of these other shows have had dubs that have just kind of gone missing and fell off the planet because no one recorded them. Real Monsters movie. The Real Monsters movie was/is an upcoming live-action animated comedy horror film. I say was because the movie was supposed to have come out already in October 30th of 2020, but it has not been released, and they have not even set a time for how long the movie is, so I'm not sure if it's even still being worked on. Thunder Lizard. The Thunder Lizards was a 1990 short film pitched to Nickelodeon by Joey Album. The short featured dinosaurs performing music acts. And there's also a lizard that is a skateboarder. When I was watching the little short, I thought that was kind of funny. SpongeBob SquarePants and the Nicktoons Gravjet Racing. SpongeBob SquarePants and the Nicktoons Gravjet Racing was a lost build of a canceled Xbox Live Arcade racing game. The gameplay itself was pretty similar to Mario Kart and F-Zero, as it's a very fast-paced game, and it has a feature for battling with weapons and panels on the track that happen to do things when a driver goes over them. Sexual innuendos. It's no secret that Nick has had plenty of adult jokes over its span of airing TV shows. Just a quick example of that is in Victorious, when Andre asks how someone can go from an A to a D, and Jade responds by saying that it happened to her in 8th grade. Rumored Welcome to the Wayne Japanese dub. Welcome to the Wayne may have had a Japanese dub. I couldn't find really anything about it on the wiki itself, and when researching it, the only thing that actually came up was the iceberg itself. Mr. Krabs' Bloodlust. Mr. Krabs' Unquenchable Bloodlust was a YouTube poop video uploaded in 2013. The video itself has Mr. Krabs being portrayed as a axe-crazy psychopath that was, he just kills everybody. Initially, this is established when he poisons the health inspector, and SpongeBob is stuck being his accomplice as Krabs continues to murder more and more victims. The intro to this tier of the iceberg features the intro to that video itself. Messed up message in Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots. In Attack of the Toybots, behind Mr. Huggle's box, there's a hidden message that the player would not be able to read. The messages say, "I'll hug you and I'll kill you, you'll never sleep again, and I'll kill your parents." The last message was kind of hard for me to decipher what it said, but I'm pretty sure it's what it says. Rugrats Preschool Days was a mini-series of 4 specials featuring Angelica and Susie entering preschool. Nick at Night cartoons. Nick at Night had some cartoons like Hey Arnold or Rugrats. SpongeBob Blink 182 video. There was a SpongeBob 3D animated video that featured SpongeBob and the rest of Bikini Bottom dancing to Blink 182 in the Krusty Krab. Nick News. Nick News is a series that began in 1992 and ended in December 15th, 2015. It was a platform to inform and inspire young people by highlighting their voices in conversation as they address current events. Cancelled Ren and Stimpy shorts. With a show like Ren and Stimpy, it's pretty much guaranteed that there were episodes that have been cancelled. An example of one of these was a short featuring Sven and Stimpy having a good time watching SpongeBob SquarePants, while Ren believes that adult cartoons, such as The Stimpsons, are way more intelligent. And our final entry into the 5th tier is the Nick logo turning blue. The Nick logo had been turned blue in order to promote the launch of Nick's new streaming platform, Paramount+. That concludes us in the 5th tier. Let's get a little bit deeper and dive into the 6th tier. Starting us off, Otis is transgender. Otis the cow from Back to the Barnyard is trans. This is shown in a scene where Otis is talking with his father Ben, watching the stars. When Ben says, "I remember I used to sit out here with your sister," Otis responds by saying that he doesn't have a sister, and then Ben responds with, "Oh yeah, that was you, wasn't it?" It was also shown that at the start of, I think it was like one of the movies or something, a mad scientist thought it would be funny to have a male cow with udders. Ren and Stimpy meet Spider-Man. There's a Marvel comic that features Powdered Toast Man fighting Spider-Man. Trash. Trash was a lost Nicktoon pilot from 1990 that was pitched, never went anywhere with it. The pilot took place on a all-trash planet, and it starred an alien superhero named Crash Morgan, who lived in Trash Town. Bobby the Lizard Boy. Bobby the Lizard Boy was a 2000 short that had been missing for almost 2 decades until a contributor to the Lost Media Wiki discovered the entire thing. The short itself features a boy named Bobby, whose father is a human and mother is an iguana, being left with an abusive babysitter named Laura. When his parents go out on a date, in an attempt to foil Laura's plans, Bobby hides in a closet, but when she comes into the closet, he eats her. Then, when his parents return home, the father pulls Laura out of Bobby. Before being able to pay her for her suffering, she runs out of the house. And that's when the short ends. Rocket Beach. Rocket Beach was a unaired rocket power pilot from 1998. It was lost but has been partially found now. Apparently though, the full pilot can be viewed in the Pally Center for Media in places like New York City or Los Angeles. Mistreated shows. There was a trend in the mid-2000s where if Nickelodeon didn't like a show or just didn't have good ratings to the favorites on the network, the show would just be canceled without given a second chance. Blue's Clues in other countries. Blue's Clues has had plenty of hosts like Steve or Josh. But there are other hosts in like different countries like Korea or Latin America that have had unknown hosts with little to no information about them. Got a blast! Rocket Race. It was an online racing web game released in 2002 for the 3D Groove game engine. Blueprints. Blueprints is the unaired pilot episode of Blue's Clues. While the episode never aired, the pilot was adapted into the series' first official episode, Snack Time. Weasel Patrol. The Weasel Patrol was an unaired Nicktoon animated pilot from 1990. The basic plot involved Weasel Patrol trying to keep a top secret hot chili pepper from a duo of smugglers. Jeanette McCurdy and Ariana Grande hated each other. During the filming of Sam and Cat, it was well known that both Jeanette McCurdy and Ariana Grande didn't have the best relationship. This relationship was shown by multiple twitlongers or tweets from both parties that showed disdain for each other. But in the end, Jeanette McCurdy made a twitlonger saying that she was dropping a friend that she was on and off with, and soon after, Sam and Cat was canceled after just one season. Jonan Vasquez didn't give permission to use Invader Zim stuff in Nickelodeon MLB. I didn't find anything about this. Assuming that this is true, we can take that at face value, but when I researched, I didn't really see anything of him saying that he didn't let them, but I mostly just didn't see him talking about it at all. The Patakis. The Patakis was a planned spin-off / sequel series to Hey Arnold. It's pretty similar to like All Grown Up. The show would have been based around Helga and her life. Cosmo and Wanda are antidepressants. Cosmo and Wanda being antidepressants is the thought that Timmy from Fairly Odd Parents didn't have magical fairies to grant his wishes. He had antidepressants that he uses to make him feel better, or make his life seem better. The theory doesn't make a lot of sense for me, because then why would Crocker want like Fairly Godparents so much, unless that it insinuates that he's addicted to like antidepressants. Avatar: The Last Airbender was meant to be sci-fi. Originally, The Last Airbender was envisioned with like a science fiction setting rather than a fantasy one. The series would still have like bending and martial arts to an extent, but it wouldn't be wouldn't be similar to The Legend of Korra. Prometheus and Bob movie. Prometheus and Bob was a cartoon sketch from the late 1990s show Kablam. In the production of the third season of Kablam, a live action film adaptation of the short was announced by Nick Movies, but the film was canceled and lost after a lack of people wanting the movie. Squidward punches Sandy in Scaredy Pants. In the SpongeBob episode Scaredy Pants, someone had edited a scene where Sandy is dressed up as a goldfish talking to Squidward, and makes it look like he punched her in the face, which broke the front of her glass helmet. SpongeBob parody characters. SpongeBob parodies like SpongeBob in China or Nigahiga's SpongeRob Bare Ass is what I'm assuming this entry is about, unless it's characters in the show that parody real life people. How did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles die in the finale, the 2012 version? I watched the final episode of TMNT 2012. I didn't really see them die. I could be just kind of dumb, because I was skimming through it. I didn't really want to watch like a full 30-minute episode. But at the very end, they were all just hanging out. So maybe they mean, because in the last episode, apparently they met up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the old series. So maybe they died or something like that. But for me, I just saw them all standing at the edge of a building when the episode ended. Nickelodeon promoting Camp Coral with unfinished animations. During a football match hosted by Nick, they featured a sneak peek of Camp Coral. The only problem with this sneak peek is the footage for the preview was either unrendered or just completely unfinished. It had a very bad look to it, as someone compared it to a high-budget parody or like a cutscene from one of their old games. Very Aggressive Vegetables. Very Aggressive Vegetables is a series of 30-second animated shorts produced by Fudge Puppy that aired on Nick in the UK, and it reruns on Nicktoons TV in the US. Originally, it aired in 1998 and depicted very aggressive vegetables taking revenge on unsuspecting kids that insulted them. So eat your vegetables, guys. Come on. El Tigre creator is trying to bring the show back. The creator of El Tigre wants to bring the show back. Pretty simple. Plankton got served. Plankton got served as a lost SpongeBob episode creepypasta. It was about someone who saw an altered version of One Course Meal. Most of the episode, he says, was identical to the normal episode. Plankton tries to break into the Krusty Krab. He ties up Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob, but gets scared away by Pearl because Plankton's ancestors were eaten by whales. But then when Plankton is waiting to get run over by the bus, SpongeBob comes over to convince him to continue his existence, and that's when this altered version changes up the story. When SpongeBob tries to help him, it just doesn't work, and he decides to try to show him the truth by getting Mr. Krabs, but it was too late. The red bus hits Plankton, runs him over. Then it shows Plankton on a platform overlooking darkness. In the depth below, there are whales and members of his family, but above he sees a light, yet in the end he jumps down into the darkness, and the episode ends. Nickelodeon Slam. It was a short-lived extreme action/adventure programming block on Nickelodeon. It was designed to compete with Toonami on Cartoon Network. Nick Studio 10. Nick Studio 10 was a defunct programming block on Nick that debuted in February 18th, 2013, and it ended on June 17th of that same year. It featured 4 teen actors who created random and surreal comedy skits and other content directed towards preteens and teens. Looney Tunes on Nick. Looney Tunes on Nick was a program of just Looney Tunes shorts that aired from September 12, 1988 to September 11th, 1999. It holds the record for being the longest Nickelodeon non-original animated shows to air on the network. Kids Scared by Paul the Monkey. Paul the Monkey was just the monkey that they used to introduce DNA Productions in their movies and TV shows. Apparently some children were afraid of him, and it was probably because that monkey has a weird looking face and a third eye. No offense to Paul the Monkey. Pelswick. Pelswick was an animated TV series that aired from October 5th, 2000 to November 15th, 2002. The show was about the title character, Pelswick, who uses a wheelchair. He emphasized that he has a normal life, and the show uses dark humor, but it was overall positive and life-affirming. Splat was a block consisting of game show programs on Nickelodeon. They aired live from March 7th, 2004 to August 17th, 2004. The logo for Block came from the Nick logo from 1984, which was a white brush-painted word mark on an orange background. The game on the show itself followed teams divided into 3 colors, green, yellow, and red. The teams comprised of audience members and selected guests from Universal Studios Florida theme park. They must compete in humorous tasks in order to win prizes, and the winning team would get slimed at the end of the game. Brain Surge. Brain Surge was a game show that aired from September 28th, 2009 until May 9th, 2014. The game show had been adapted from the Japanese game show Brain Survivor. Brain Surge had 2-person family team format with 5 teams, so 10 contestants overall. They began playing a series of visual puzzles to start them off. There were 6 puzzles that were worth up to a maximum of 250 points overall, with the lowest scoring teams being eliminated but given a consolation prize and a bucket of slime. The second round has the 4 remaining teams getting told a story and being asked questions about the story. They lock in their answers by sitting in a chair. If the team gets the question right, a ding is heard, but if they get the question wrong, the chair makes a fart noise, and the team is pulled through the paper tooth of a large face made to resemble the host, and they're eliminated. Then, coming next is the knockout round, which has the 2 remaining teams memorize a grid of 16 numbers containing 8 pairs of images from the story. The 2 teams take turns matching pairs, but if someone makes a mistake, it goes into sudden death, or the next match moves on, but the contestant that makes a mistake loses the game. The 3 teams that were out receive a consolation prize, and they're sent down the brain drain. The final stage has the last team left successfully trace out 3 paths on grids in 90 seconds. The first path is on a 4x4 grid, and any prizes they win on one stage is theirs to keep. Sorry for the pause right there, I read my script wrong. If the time runs out, the team will go down the brain drain, but they'll keep the prizes that they won along the way. But if those succeed after the time, they get slimed for a lifetime. Random cartoons. Random Cartoons was an anthology series that aired on Nicktoons from December 6th, 2008 and ended in December 20th, 2009. The show had 13 half-hour episodes and was supposed to be similar to Oh Yeah Cartoons. A few of those shorts ended up becoming TV series, such as Adventure Time, The Bravest Warriors, and Fanboy. Adventure Time became a full-length series on April 5th, 2010. The Bravest Warriors began under a new name, just Bravest Warriors instead of The Bravest Warriors, started airing on November 8th, 2012, and Fanboy, under the name of Fanboy and Chum Chum, began airing as a full-length series on November 7th, 2009. Spectrum dropping Nick. Spectrum prepared to drop Nick, or Viacom itself, which led to the removal of Nickelodeon and 23 other channels like MTV and Comedy Central. Red Mist. Red Mist was the SpongeBob creepypasta based around Squidward. It was created in 2010 and featured an edited image of Squidward with red misty eyes. The story itself was told by a person who claimed to have worked at Viacom and received early access to future SpongeBob episodes. But when watching episodes with other interns, he found one that was labeled Red Mist. This shows Squidward performing poorly at a clarinet recital, then mourning his failure, while illegal pictures of unalived children flash with subliminal images. The story ends with Squidward in his room, having shot himself in the head. Lewd images found in the files of SpongeBob Super Sponge. Apparently, in the files of SpongeBob Super Sponge, a concept artist had drawn SpongeBob characters having good times with each other, and he just left it in the game's files. Well, that concludes this episode. This is the second to last episode of this series, so I hope you've enjoyed it so far. I think after this series, I'd like to do a serial killer iceberg that I had seen. I had already made a couple of videos, the shorter videos, on cases that I had found on that iceberg, and I just found it interesting. I know Wendigoon has just done a serial killer iceberg, but I'm trying to keep it, try to do things that he didn't do, or a lot of these other channels haven't done. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. I'm also going to attempt to become a little bit more productive with the video making. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for all the support that you've given me throughout the, this period. I'm really happy about it. I try to read most of your comments, but I get a little bit anxious sometimes, so I don't always end up reading everybody's, but I'll try my best. But yeah, love you all, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, or evening. Night and evening is the same thing. Day or night. Hope you have a great rest of your day or night.